Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tejano Traveler. I'm your host Wally, and today we are on the Texas Hill Country Trail taking a look at the Pioneer Museum in Fredericksburg, Texas. Now, Fredericksburg, Texas is a German town. It was settled in 1846, just a bit after New Braunfels. So New Braunfels is older, but it sort of has almost the same history. It was people wanting to get to Llano County to start their German village, but then they realized what a horrible place it was and how easily it was attacked by the Comanches, who were kicking everybody's ass at the time. So they decided, you know what, maybe let's not go that far, but at the same time, we don't want to be in New Braunfels, so they settled here in Fredericksburg. And this museum is a memorial to all those pioneers who settled here. Like I said, it's a very German town, so there's a very German influence everywhere you look here. Um, it's pretty big, and they have a lot of stuff to look through. I was almost overwhelmed with the stuff that they had to look at. But they had an outhouse, which is always cool, and they had these church houses, which were only used on Sundays. And they have the volunteer fire department house that used to run in the city with some of the old wagons. Like, how much water can you actually carry through that? That was weak, but still, I guess it worked for them at that time. But if you walk the grounds, you can sort of see what life was like back then, see some of the buildings. I love seeing the schoolhouse. I always like seeing the old schoolhouse as a teacher. I like seeing how people taught back then and what they did, and if I would be able to survive, if I'd be able to handle having to teach back then. You know, would I still be yelling at all my kids and being weird and looking at dumb things? Who knows? But it's fun pretending. This was a big building. I think they only have events there. But they have a barn that you can look through. They also have fun stuff for the kids. It got voted the number one attraction for kids in Fredericksburg, so that should tell you something. They got different wagons and different things that the pioneers needed. And this is an example of a one cabin, one um, one family cabin. You know, it had its fireplace, it had its bed, it had a sitting area, and then in the back it had the kitchen and dining room. And that's pretty much all you needed back then. The outhouse was in the back somewhere. This is a more recent example of other homes that were there at the turn of the century. As you can see, it's a bit more modern, but you still recognize some of the things. I like that wheelchair, rocking chair. But you can see all these old artifacts and turn of the century furniture and everything. And you get to find out what life was like back then in Fredericksburg and being German and being in a new country trying to survive and knowing that the Comanche Indians in the area weren't going to attack you because you guys had a treaty, and it's the only treaty that has never been broken. It still continues. So that's a point of their pride. If you ever visit Fredericksburg, it was a town that wasn't really attacked. There's a mock-up of what the town used to look like back then, if you're interested. Like I said, there's a lot of artifacts here. At one point, I just had to step aside because there was too much to see. But I'm glad to see that they still have creepy dolls. All these museums need to have creepy dolls. And then they show some of the artifacts of the main founder of the city. I forget what his name is now. Then they also show the cellar. I've always been a fan of cellars because I always think they're haunted for some reason. But this one looks pretty cool. I was amazed at how cool it was in here until I realized it was actual AC. But I was like, oh, these people, they knew how to keep cool in the summer. But no, it was AC. They also have a barn that you can go look at. And like I said, you can walk the grounds, see what it was like back then, feel the heat of the summer and how they would have to pretty much survive all that. Then they had a smokehouse because they had to preserve the food somehow, and smoking was one of their easiest ways to do that with their sausages and all that kind of stuff. Then they also would also have bathhouses where travelers or just regular people would go and unwind and take a bath and get all groomed up and shave and a haircut and feel nice about themselves. So it was kind of cool seeing that. And then they had the workshop, where they had way too many tools for me, and a blacksmith shop, which was also full of artifacts for you to see. But each of these houses has something for everyone. And there's the church house again. That's what they would use to travel into the country, so they could, to the city, so they could um, go to church. And there was a nice little house for them. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you've been enjoying these videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.